Hello, baseball fans, and welcome to the 2025 season. We are back at District Baseball with another year of Nationals and Major League Baseball coming up. I am your host, Trey. You can follow me at Reverse, 2 R's, 2 S's on Twitter, and you can follow us at District BSB as well. And you might be a little confused because I'm not your normal introer. I'm not your normal host. We want to get right into some baseball talk, but we got some changes we have to discuss first. A little housekeeping. So first of all, rest in peace, Nick. He didn't die or nothing. He's just out there being a successful varsity coach. Like, what? Like that's not cool, right? No, that's very cool. We're really happy for Nick, and he's still behind the scenes, and he'll probably hop into a couple episodes. Hopefully, we'll see if our schedules can get on track. That's pretty much the reason why we were inconsistent last year. Just scheduling issues and work and coaching and all that. So hopefully we'll be able to stick with it a little bit more consistently this time around. But in the meantime, I've got a new friend to introduce you to, my buddy Gavin, who's going to be joining us for this season and maybe beyond. We'll see. Gavin is a 6'7" a man with flowing blonde hair, gorgeous blue eyes. But sorry, ladies, he's taken. Gavin, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good, Trey. I'm doing good. Hopefully you're doing well.
I'm doing great. And why don't you go ahead and drop your Twitter for the people to go follow you?
At Gavin Dude XL.
Yep. Okay. So now that we've got all the housekeeping out of the way, let's get to our Nats. We're going to start with the Nats today. We'll be getting more into general MLB for the future of spring training because there's only going to be so much national stuff to talk about. But we'll be sticking with the Nats and the NL East today. I think we should go ahead and just start with some of the offseason moves. Let's go ahead and start with who we lost this offseason because there were a number of players that left the Nationals, some of which could be technically re-signed, some of which will not be. Let's start it off with a guy who might still technically have a chance to be on this roster this year, Kyle Finnegan. He is a guy who kind of became a staple of the bullpen, and even had a good first half last year, but it kind of fell apart in the second half, got non-tendered. However, he's still a free agent. He's still a fairly effective pitcher, maybe not as a closer, but definitely someone to watch out for. Reunion there seems likely. Tanner Rainey has also been non-tendered. Gosh, man, do you remember Tanner Rainey in 2020? I feel like he had something going, and then injuries and lack of performance.
He was definitely good with the fastball. Not really controlled it, but
that was pretty much his main issue throughout was command. He kind of locked it in 2020, and then it just never happened. So good luck, Tanner. Ildemar Vargas, see you later, buddy. Fun fact about Ildemar Vargas, he had the most pitch clock violations for any batter in baseball last year, which is hilarious because he only played like half the time, and it happened like 5 times when he was pinch hitting. I swear, I can remember that. So, yep, Ildemar is gone. Joey Meneses, man, what second half of 2022 it was for Joey Meneses, parlayed into a 2-year stretch of awful. Unfortunate that it didn't work out, although we can still keep that memory of the end of the season, 2022, Joey Meneses holding firm. Also, a guy who was on our 2019 World Series squad, Patrick Corbin's gone, everybody. This is a weird kind of development because we've never done this show without Patrick Corbin on this team. So this is interesting. This is a new era for District Baseball.
I don't know if I'm the only person that thinks this, but I'm happy he's gone.
I think, you know what, I'm gonna guess there's a couple other people out there that might be happy about it, including me. And then we also lost Trevor Williams, but heading back into the next section, who we actually regained Trevor Williams. So let's talk about some of the offseason additions. There weren't a ton, as kind of has been the MO lately in recent years, but there were a couple good signings. And we'll start with Trevor Williams, who has been re-signed to a 2-year deal. I believe it has an option year on the second. I actually did not check that. But he had a very strong start last year, only 13 starts, but he was very strong. And yeah, I think it's a good idea to get him back because once again he can start, he can come out of the bullpen, he's got versatility. Although once again, keep him out of the third time through the lineup thing, and we should be good. But yeah, that's not the biggest addition, I would say, to the team, and it didn't come via free agency either. It actually came via trade. The Nationals traded Robert Garcia to the Texas Rangers for Nathaniel Lowe. Now, Robert Garcia was a valuable left-handed piece in the bullpen. Nothing that can't be replaced somewhere else, hopefully by Jose Ferrer, but we'll get to that later. But yeah, but he was a good pitcher for us, so that definitely hurts a little bit. But the guy you get back, Nathaniel Lowe, one of the more consistent hitters in baseball over the past 4 years, and his best attribute is his incredible eye at the plate. He has been one of the top on-base percentage guys for the past 4 years. If you look at the last year, he was 19th in on-base percentage 2024, 97th percentile in walk rate, which is excellent. But over the last 4 years, he's 20th in on-base percentage over that time with a 123 WRC plus. Really, really consistent. In fact, if you look at his on-base percentages specifically, 2021 357, 2022 358, 2023 360, 2024 361. I mean, it doesn't really get much more consistent than that. So it's kind of a guy who you know what you're getting. He's not going to be a massive home run threat, which is hilarious that the Nationals wouldn't trade for a home run hitting first baseman, considering who they are. But regardless, we're not looking for him to hit 30 homers. We're looking for him to be a guy in the middle of that order, working at bats, good bat to ball skills, and definitely will get those pitch counts up. And honestly, just a really good addition. He's also an improved defender. So that's something the Nationals have needed over at first base. I know first base defense isn't necessarily the most important thing, but I mean, I watched enough Joey Meneses over there to know that, yeah, you might need to be able to play first base. Anyways, that was a really good move that I liked, and I think that Lowe should be a fantastic addition to this lineup. What do you think about Nathaniel Lowe, Gavin?
I'm actually very excited to see him as well as Josh Bell. But Nathaniel Lowe was definitely a power hitter. And I am very excited to see how this goes for the 2 years, right?
Yeah, he's got 2 years left.
Mm-hmm. Yep, 2 years. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, speaking of Josh Bell, he's my next guy. Yeah, so Bell has had an interesting run since he left the Nats in 2022. Hasn't necessarily been great, hasn't necessarily been bad, but he has had really inconsistent stretches. He's had stretches where he's been not so great at all, and he's had stretches where he's been an excellent hitter, and he hasn't really had that consistent success since being in Washington, but now he's back, and he's going to be focused solely on hitting, as he will be the designated hitter going into the year. He is not going to be playing first base much, and that's something he actually said in his interview with Masson when he first re-signed, was that he's going to be focused on lifting the ball and hitting homers, and that is sorely needed, especially when you get a first baseman who's not really known for that in Nate Lowe, although he is good on the on-base percentage and the doubles. Homers win games, and the Nationals have been at the bottom of the league in home runs for the last half decade, basically. So you got to get some homers from somewhere. Hopefully, Josh Bell can provide that on a 1-year, $6 million deal, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
And that will be a good, we'll see what happens with this team. Obviously, he's a trade candidate if he has a big first half. I know emotionally people might not want to hear that, and even I don't want to hear that because I like him a lot. But it's a fact of the league, so we'll see. But if he can hit some homers, that's going to be a big-time boost for this lineup. Next up, Michael Soroka. This is a very interesting pickup, and I'm not sure exactly what they're going to do with him. But if you look at the numbers, it's pretty clear that he should be in the bullpen as a starter.
Yeah.
They're not even particularly close, as I'm sure you're looking as well right now.
Yep.
The starter ERA is at a 6.39 for 2024. He was on the White Sox, so take that with a grain of salt. It's probably inflated because of their bad defense as well, but not great numbers. Only 4.9 strikeouts per nine, a 1.5 WHIP in those games. But as a reliever, my goodness, it was a completely different story. 2.75 ERA in 36 innings, 15 strikeouts per 9 innings. 15. That is as elite and as an elite can get in this league. 15 strikeouts per 9 innings. I mean, that's like prime Kenley Jansen numbers. And that makes it pretty obvious to me where he should be. Now, we'll see because we never know with this team how they're going to line it up. He could be in the rotation. You never know. But he doesn't need to be. I think innings are probably the one thing this pitching staff has on lock.
For sure.
And I would like to see him out of the bullpen. If you want to make him a multi-inning guy, that's fine. But realistically, his fastball slider combo is good. I mean, it's very strong. He struggled with the sinker and the changeup last year. But if he's a one-inning reliever, he doesn't really need to worry about those pitches. So I'm kind of hoping that he's like, a setup guy. Let's try to. I mean, I don't know if he'll be as good as he was last year, but from these numbers, I think we should at least give it a shot. Because I think that's where his role would best be suited. And then we got Ahmed Rosario. This is okay. So this is nothing against Ahmed specifically, but third base has just been rough for the Nats recently. Besides Jamer, I guess, who was excellent, but once again not a long-term solution. And I mean, he did turn into DJ Hers, so respect Jamer.
Yep.
Appreciate you, buddy. But yeah, Ahmed Rosario is kind of in a similar vein of a guy who hasn't necessarily performed the best over the past couple years, that they're looking to get a little bit of a bounce back from. So I wrote here, I have an optimistic take and a pessimistic take with Ahmed, because I think there's two ways this can go. When he's played every day in the past 5 seasons, he's mostly been pretty good. His 2 years with Cleveland, or I think he had 3 years, but he had 2 years with Cleveland where he was playing second base, or was he playing second or shortstop with them? I don't even remember. But I think it was shortstop with them.
I think it was shortstop.
Yeah, because Jimenez was there. Now Jimenez is a Blue Jay. Everything's going crazy. Anyways, he was playing. I mean, he's not a great shortstop, but he was good enough, and he was able to hit while playing every day. And he does crush lefties pretty well for a middle infielder. My pessimistic take is that he's not really a good defender. He's not a great hitter versus righties, and he has only played 100 MLB innings at third base, which is where he's been signed to kind of take over, I'm assuming. He's been somewhat just below average as a third baseman, but it's only 100 MLB innings. It's not a very large sample size, so it's going to be interesting, to say the least. We'll have to see how he performs in spring training. I think, he's definitely another trade candidate as well, if he has a good first half. But yeah, and then we got, for rounding out the bullpen here, we have Jorge Lopez. This was also a good signing, I think. He, you might remember him from last year's Mets team, where he chuck his glove into the stands, I think?
Yeah, he chucked his glove over the netting and into the stands.
Yeah, that was, the Mets last year were a circus, but that was when they were bad at the beginning of the season, and he was struggling. But realistically, that does not define his 2024 season. It's actually excellent. 2.89 ERA, 1.39 ERA plus in 59 innings. Very high ground ball rate, over 50%, and he does have some closing experience. I'm thinking he ends up as the closer, because I'm not sure who else in this bullpen really has the ability to do it at this point. And he has like 25 career saves, I think. So he's done it, at least. It's kind of unfortunate because I just saw Kenley Jansen go to the Angels for $10 million for a year, and I was like, we could have been all over that. All over that. But whatever. We're not going to get into that too much yet. There will be plenty of time for belly aching about the offseason moves later, I guess. But yeah, no, good signing there, though, from Lopez. And then we've got probably the most intriguing signing as our last one here.
Definitely my
Shinosuke
favorite.
Ogasawara. That's not how you say it. Ogasa. This is so hard for me. I don't know why. Ogasawara. Got
Is
it.
it
I was adding too many
is it
syllables.
Shinusake? Shinusake.
I think it's Shinosuke. I think it's Shinosuke Ogasawara.
Shinosuke Ogasawara.
Okay, yeah. All right, now, so don't use my first pronunciation. Use that one. Tough name, but cool signing. The most important thing that the signing does for the Nats is it opens the Japanese market to them. This is their first ever signing from the NPB, and it's not necessarily a massive signing. It's not a massive star or anything, but just to have that link is good because there's a lot of talent in Japan right now. Shit, I can't say his name. Shinosuke. I can say that. Shinosuke is a lefty from Japan. He's going to be looking to enter our starting rotation. He had a 3.67 ERA in over 1,000 innings in the NPB. And if you've seen a guy like Shota Imanaga pitch, or even his new coach, Sean Doolittle, pitch, then you kind of know what you're getting with a guy who throws a low-angle, high-spin fastball from the left side. I think he's lefty, actually. I didn't even check.
I believe he's lefty.
I gotta check real quick to make sure I'm not silly. Throws left. Okay. Gosh.
Yeah.
Still getting used to it here on District Baseball for episode 1 as well. But yeah, left-handed pitcher, low angle, high spin fastball. Doesn't really have much in terms of incredible off speed, but they clearly saw something they liked. I like that Doolittle's going to get a chance to work with him, and we'll see how that goes. Whether he ends up in the rotation or not, he probably is going to pitch for us this year, considering he's on a major league deal. So I'm assuming that's going to give him a good chance to make the rotation. But yeah, those are all of the signings. Gavin, let me throw it over to you. What do you think is going to be the most impactful of those signings, and who do you think is going to be traded at the deadline?
So I believe because of what Trevor Williams did last year, I think Trevor Williams, if he could stay healthy, I think he could definitely be our number one. And I think he could be definitely impactful for the entire Nats roster. Hopefully we can get some runs behind him whenever.
Yeah, that definitely was an issue last year.
Yeah, hopefully we can do that. Now, for trading at the deadline, I'd like to see... I'd probably have to agree if Josh Bell does pretty good, we could probably shop him, maybe get something in return a little bit. Ahmed Rosario, I didn't really like the signing, if I'm going to be honest.
Yeah.
So, I guess at the moment I'm just hoping that he does good and we trade him or something. I don't know. I definitely love Jose Tina more than Ahmed.
I agree long term as well. Jose Tina showed some flash at the end of last year, and he will probably be... I'm assuming they're going to platoon.
Yeah.
Because Rosario is way better against lefties, and Tina is a lefty and probably is better against righties. Yeah, I can't say I was a massive fan of the signing either, although I was happy to at least get something at third base just because...
Agreed.
We could have got nothing. That's definitely been a thing. So, like last year where we got Nick Senzel, that was basically nothing. So, I'm in agreement. I think Josh Bell's probably a good candidate because he's like I said, he's a streaky guy. So, if he gets hot in April and May to start the season, then all of a sudden, he's a big home run slugger and could potentially see a return at the deadline. I think Soroka's interesting for me because I do think if they play him as a reliever, like he should be, and he's putting up numbers. I mean, this was a guy who was a good pitcher before he had some major injury complications. 2019, he had a great season as a starter for the Braves, but this is not a player that hasn't done it before. So I definitely believe that he has the chance to have a good year out of the bullpen and potentially be flipped at the deadline. So
I believe that he's more of a 1 to 2 innings kind of guy, not put him in as a starter.
Yeah, definitely. Just numbers wise, if we I mean, you know, there's always injuries. It could happen that he has to start, and that's a different story. But as of on paper, at least, he should probably be in the pen. But yeah, so I definitely think there is some good budget signings here. Once again, the purse strings of the Lerner family seem to not be very open. So I can't really fault Rizzo for doing what he could. I just wish that he would stop lying every offseason about how we're going to sign someone big and then we don't. It's fine if we don't. I mean, it's not fine. But, you know, I understand, you know, I'm more sympathetic towards him right now than I am the Lerners, for sure. But let's move on and talk about the entire roster. This is going to be my projected lineup and rotation and bullpen and such and bench. So feel free to disagree and let us know who you think should be on the roster. But this is what I got as my potential lineup. Starting off with shortstop C.J. Abrams, once again, coming out of the leadoff spot. I don't think anyone's going to have a problem with that. He was pretty great in parts of last year, although he was inconsistent as well. Looking to shore that up. I would bet that he fixes that. That's an apt term to use with him. Anyways, let's move on to our second batter, which I'm listing Dylan Cruz here for now, although I think this is kind of an interchangeable spot depending on, pitcher matchup and how well Luis Garcia ends up hitting, because Garcia had a big year last year, and I think he's kind of a nice two-hitter if he can continue it. But I've got Cruz in there first. He's got a lot of speed, and it breaks up the righty-lefty type of deal. He's a righty, CJ's a lefty, and our third hitter is also a lefty, James Wood. I think that's a given with him in the 3-hole, maybe even in the 2-hole, but definitely a 3-hole. And then Josh Bell following it up as the DH. I think Josh Bell and Lowe, who is Nathaniel Lowe, is my 5-hitter, could be interchanged there as well. And then Luis Garcia, I've got penciling in at second base, hitting 6th. Like I said, he had an excellent season last year. And he is only 24. If he is getting any amount of success through the first half, I really think they need to be on the extension game. Get on the phone. He's no Scott Boras excuse anymore. There's no excuse for that. He dropped him. Okay? Different agent. We can do this. We can make this happen. We need to at least reach out to his people and try and get an extension done before he gets too expensive. Because he's a young player and he's seemingly breaking out. But we'll see. 7th, Amed Rosario playing third base. Tanya also is, interchangeable there as a platoon. Keibert Ruiz coming in as the 8-hitter, and then center fielder Jacob Young as the 9-hole. What do you think about this lineup? What would you change, if anything?
So this is the logical lineup. If I'm Davey Martinez,
yes, take it through. Let's go into the mind of Davey.
If I'm Davey Martinez, I'll always start C.J. Abrams at the beginning. Then maybe put in Luis Garcia at the 2 spot.
Yeah, see, I like Luis as a potential. I know everyone's gonna be in on Cruz at the 2 spot right away, but that's tough. 2-spot rookie is kind of hard. So.
Yeah, and then I would probably just move everybody down to then Dylan Cruz 3rd. Maybe James Wood, put him in the 5th spot, or keep him at the 4th spot and let him hit clean up. Josh Bell, Nathaniel Lowe. I think Jacob Young probably. I don't know. Was he bottom of the lineup last year?
Yeah, I mean he got switched from like leadoff to 9-hole basically. That was kind of his zone.
Okay, yeah. So then I definitely see the rest of the lineup being like that. Yeah, maybe Davey one day just wants to put Keibert all the way up for some reason and like the 5 or 6.
He'll hit him like 3rd sometime. Yeah, it is interesting. Yeah, if we're going by Davey's mindset, it's definitely like I don't even know what the lineup would be. So, but yeah, no, I could see Wood hitting cleanup though. I wouldn't mind that. I wouldn't mind him in the 2 hole, and just as long as he's near the top, having opportunities to drive runs in, because
that's not a bad idea.
Yeah, because I think overall this is a better lineup than last year on paper.
Yes,
on paper. Definitely got no Nick Senzel. That's a big help. Trey Lipscomb, I like his defense, but batting wise, he was never gonna be that great right away. I'm hoping that they keep him in AAA and let him, actually.
Joey Meneses and Joey Gallo.
Oh my God, the double Joeys! I almost forgot. I actually forgot to mention Gallo earlier. My bad. Yeah, we lost Gallo in case anyone really cares. But I definitely think overall this is a better batting lineup than we've had recently. I mean, assuming Dylan Cruz is a good hitter, which I believe he will at least be an average hitter this year, and as long as he's that with his defense and speed, we're not going to be complaining in his rookie season. James Wood is only going to get better, hopefully, and he was already really great, despite the fact that he didn't do it with the home run ball as much as we would want, probably. But I didn't really have much of a problem with how he hit last year. Maybe cut the K rate a little bit, but after that first month, he really settled in. He finished strong, so I'm very excited for him to kind of just break out. I mean, we've been kind of just waiting for him to get consistent playing time, because I feel like it's gonna happen once that happens. Like he's built like a stud, crazy athleticism, and then he also has that he's very even keeled, level headed, smart hitter. Obviously, we want to see some improvement in the defense, but he's not really known as a left fielder, and that's kind of where he had most of his time played last year, and that's where he's going to be this year. So hopefully some more time will at least get him to an average defense. But yeah, overall batting wise, certainly a deeper lineup, certainly a stronger top of the order as well. And there's some potential even at the bottom here for those guys to potentially have some success. And someone is banging on a. Can you hear that?
I heard just
banging
like
on the wall next to me.
Yeah.
Great. So that's great. That's really what I wanted. All right, let's move on to the bench. For the bench, we've got catcher Riley Adams. I think that's a given. Maybe Drew Millis gets an opportunity. Either way, not what I wanted. I've been wanting a veteran catcher as our backup for like 3 years, and it's just whatever. Anyways, Riley Adams is going to be there. Then I've listed Jose Tena as well, because like I said, I think he's going to be platooning in that third base position. Then I've got 2 guys that I'm not sure. I just listed them here because I feel like they fit well for the roster if it's constructed like we've kind of constructed it here. Infielder Darren Baker, who came up at the end of the season last year. And he's a guy that can play a lot of positions, and he's fast. He can pinch run. So I definitely think he'll probably be that utility infielder more so than Tena. Tena will be playing third more. And then I've included Stone Garrett. I'm not sure exactly what his status is with his leg. I know he came up at the end last year and played some. If he's healthy, I like him as our outfielder. He's a pretty good defender. He can play multiple outfield positions. And we already have 2 center field types on the team. Dylan Cruz is playing right field probably, but he's a good enough athlete to play center field. But you don't really need a center fielder when you have Jacob Young, who is one of the best in the league. So I think defensively we're looking okay. So I don't necessarily think Stone has to be the defensive replacement type, more of a slugging pinch hitting type. Especially against lefties. So I think if he's healthy, he's a good option there. There's some other guys that have potential. Alex Call's definitely a guy. He's got more experience, and he has that defensive ability. But like I said, I don't think they need the defense necessarily off the bench. I feel like the defense in the outfield is going to be solid with Young in center and Cruz in right. And hopefully, James Wood can be okay in left. But was there any other guy that you thought maybe could sneak onto this bench for the beginning of the season?
No, not really. I think just fan favorite Stone Garrett. I definitely feel like he should be there, and his offensive power I feel like would definitely help in certain situations.
Yeah, it's all situational. That's kind of the point I was trying to go for with this.
Yep.
And he had plenty of success before his injury as well. Like, he played very well, so there's no reason that he hasn't shown any inability to play at the major league level. Let's just say that. Even when he came up last year, he had a homer immediately. So
yeah, look, if you are shown a picture of Alex Call, you have a straight face. But if you see a picture of Stone Garrett, you get a smile on your face immediately. So I just believe Stone Garrett will be the one.
Yeah, you know
Alex
what? I love it. I love it.
I like Alex Call, don't get me wrong, but Stone Garrett's my favorite.
I agree. Stone Garrett is. I was on the Stone Brigade at the beginning of 2023 and throughout, and definitely
Stone Garrett was my profile picture on Twitter forever.
That's right. Yeah. So definitely hoping to see some Stone Garrett this year. But now let's talk about pitchers, because it's going to get weird here with the pitchers. Like I said earlier, the thing that I think the Nationals have in abundance is innings, which is a good thing in modern baseball, because that's kind of a premium thing. A lot of guys don't throw a ton of innings. Whether that's out of the rotation, but also some of these guys in the bullpen who have been starters and have long relief experience and stuff like that. So I think in terms of innings, we're good. In terms of quality of innings, I'm not exactly sure, but there's a chance. You said Trevor Williams as potential number one, and by ERA, absolutely. He had a 2.03 ERA last year. I put him in the 2 spot behind Mackenzie Gore just because I love Mackenzie Gore.
I agree with that. I agree with that.
Yeah, I think as of now, they're probably interchangeable as our 1. But Mackenzie Gore obviously has a ton of upside, and he had a great season last year as well. A little bit inflated on the ERA because he had some starts where he's had some starts in his career where he just struggles to get out of the second inning, third inning, and that's kind of his next step. His next step is
his walking.
Yeah, he did better in terms of the overall walk rate last year.
But it's just some starts.
Yeah, it's just those occasional blowups, and if he can nail that down and start getting those innings, he threw over 160 last year, which is good.
Yep.
But I want to see him around the 180 to 200 mark if possible, and I think he's got the ability. He's made changes to his arsenal to make his off-speed pitches better, to be less one-dimensional, and I mean you could see in certain starts last year the ace potential. So he had a really solid year last year. I'm expecting an even better year this year. And then, I said Trevor Williams is my number 2 right now, which would make sense based on his effectiveness last year. Obviously, it wasn't in a full season. It was 13 starts, but still 66 innings isn't anything to scoff at in that time. Pretty nice stuff from Williams. I'm expecting maybe not that good, but I'm hoping to see him, somewhere in the 3 to 4 range. I would take as a guy who probably isn't going to see the third time of the order too much. Although, like I said, innings wise, maybe it doesn't really matter because we have so many of those in the bullpen. My number 3, Jake Irvin. Jake had a phenomenal first half of the season last year. If you look at the numbers, he was like a 3.2 ERA after the first 115 innings of his 2024 season. He had the incredible 4th of July start. Maybe my favorite game of the year. I don't know what your favorite game last year was. There weren't a ton of great ones, but
yeah, I think definitely the game that I went to and I saw Jake Irvin pitch against the Reds.
Oh yeah. Yes.
He pitched really well in that start.
He was excellent until the second half. Second half, not so good. But I'm willing to kind of forgive that. It's his first time throwing a ton of innings in basically any level of organized baseball. He's never been, even in the minors, a huge innings guy. So he threw 187 innings, most on the team.
Yeah, I think
that's a great number.
Sean Doolittle definitely helped him.
Yeah, I mean Doolittle, the pitching staff last year overperformed expectations for sure. They still weren't incredible by any means. And we definitely had some issues in the bullpen where our depth was tested and we had to throw guys too many times. And that's more of a roster building problem than coaching, because you eventually run out of guys. But I did like the steps that were taken, especially by guys like Gore and a guy like Mitchell Parker, who should be retaining a spot in the rotation, pending anything going wrong in spring training. And then obviously we have Shinosuke Ogasawara. Close. Sort of got the pronunciation there. I'm thinking he'll probably start in the rotation since he's on a major league deal. And we'll have to see how that goes and whether or not he's going to stick there. But yeah, I think a rotation of Mackenzie Gore, Trevor Williams, Jake Irvin, Shinosuke Ogasawara, and Mitchell Parker is going to be the rotation. Obviously, spring training can happen, and injuries can happen, and that could throw a wrench into things. But that's my projection. What do you think of that rotation?
I think that rotation is pretty solid. I'm not gonna lie. I'm excited to see the Japanese pitcher.
Yeah, me too.
I'm not gonna try and pronounce it because I feel like it'll be very
We'll get it eventually, guys. It's gonna take us some time. That's a tough one.
I don't know. I might just nickname him SO. I don't know.
I'm sure he'll have some kind of nickname.
Yeah.
To make it easier for all us stupid Americans.
Yep.
Yeah, and I like Mitchell Parker in the rotation. I know that DJ Hers could have been a guy that got a rotation spot, and I like DJ Hers a lot as well. Wouldn't mind if they, I don't mind the 6-man rotation sometimes. I don't think you have to do it all year, but there are certain points where guys get tired, might need to bring a 6-man into the rotation. DJ Hers is probably that guy for me. But Mitchell Parker, I'm giving him the nod as my starter. And I think it's a lot of guys. There's no dudes, really. I mean, I think Mackenzie Gore has the chance to be a dude and a dog and a really good ace pitcher. And then you got some guys, but you need guys. You need those guys that are gonna go out there and give you a solid performance. Maybe not something incredible, which we definitely need more of that for the Nats to have more success. But there's no glaring hole in the rotation right now, which there's been one in the past 5 years, and he's not here anymore. So I like the way that looks. I'm not expecting him to be incredible, but I'm also not expecting him to be bad. I'm thinking somewhere around average, which I'd take, to be honest. But then we've got the bullpen, which is weird. The bullpen's weird, guys. I don't even know where to start with the bullpen. It's like 3 starters, and like Jorge Lopez has been a starter. Michael Soroka's been a starter. Derek Law, I think, has some starting experience, and he's a big innings guy. And then Hers obviously has been a starter before. So there's definitely some innings, like I said, in this bullpen. Will they be effective? I don't know. This is gonna be a weird unit. I think, like I've said, Soroka as a setup man is probably the best chance you have of having a kind of 7-8-9 combo with him and Jorge Lopez. And then Derek Law, super underrated, great season last year. He wasn't good in situations where he came into innings with runners on base, which was a problem all year because everyone knew it, and he kept getting thrown out in those situations. But when he got a clean inning, the man was awesome. He had a sub-3 ERA in 90 innings pitched as a reliever. That's a ton of innings. So yeah, multi-inning guy can do a lot when you put him in clean. So let's put him in clean this year, please. And then DJ Hers, I'm expecting to get a spot as like a long reliever / another lefty. Although I don't think we're going to have the lefty problem we've had. We've got Jose Ferrer listed in the bullpen right now as well. I think that in terms of stuff, he's gross. It's just getting that consistent location for him. And then Colin Poche. They signed to a minor league contract, which is really funny because I'm just like looking at the numbers. I'm like, this guy had to take a minor league contract? Really? He's been pretty freaking good over the past 3 years. He had a really good 2023 with a 190 ERA plus, and I think that was a pretty savvy signing to get him on a minor league deal. I'm expecting him to pretty easily make the team out of spring training. Now, there's a couple guys that are interesting picks. We have Eduardo Salazar, who came up at the end of last year. Wasn't amazing or anything, but for the most part in the minor leagues, he's been great as a young pitcher, and I'm excited to see what he can do. A guy that does have that like late inning potential. Probably not right at the start. I'm hoping we kind of ease him into some more low leverage situations at first, get him acclimated, and then let him cook after that. And then Evan Reifert, I think is how you say it. That was our Rule 5 pick from the Rays. Excellent minor league pitcher. Had a 1.96 ERA in like 41 innings last year. The Rays tend to be a reliever factor. They just got too many great pitching prospects, so this guy went unprotected. I think it was a good snag. Probably the best Rule 5 pick out of the recent ones that we've done. Obviously, we had Thad Ward, who didn't work out, and Nasim Nunez, who we kept on the roster all year last year and now can actually be sent down and play in the minors. I'm glad that it's a pitcher over a position player getting that slot, because I think the position player slots are way more important than bullpen slots on your roster personally. But I like that pickup. It's double A, sub 2 ERA and double A, so it's not like no triple A, no international pro shit or anything like that, but there's potential there. And he's gonna be in the pen. He's gonna pitch because he's a Rule 5 pick. We got to keep him up there if we want to retain his services. So what do you think about this bullpen? Because honestly, I don't know what to expect in terms of results from this group.
If I'm Davey, I see Derek Law definitely becoming maybe our innings pitched leader over even the starting pitchers.
He did outpace some of our starters last year. So yeah.
Yeah, I could see Derek Law coming in almost every single game. But when I'm looking at this, I don't know if I spaced out and I didn't hear you, but who is going to be the closer?
Yeah, you see, it's kind of a I don't know situation. I would think Jorge Lopez has the nod right now.
Okay. Yeah, so I could definitely see Soroka being the setup man because of the stats from last year. He's definitely good working in just like one inning. And if he comes in, nobody on base, I feel confident. I'd feel confident with him. DJ Hers I can see as if a starting pitcher gets into trouble early and we have to put somebody in for like a long reliever.
Yeah.
I like Hers. But yeah, no, I think Jorge Lopez would be a good closer for us.
Yeah. And the thing about Hers as well is like he's also gross. Like he's got some nasty stuff. I mean
last year he had a 13 strikeout game.
Yeah, absolutely. He's got the strikeout abilities. So I'm not even putting it past them to potentially use him in late inning situations if that's the right call. But he definitely fits the mold of a long reliever right now. A couple other guys I want to mention. Cade Cavalli. We're not exactly sure what his status is yet, and I'm assuming he's going to need rehab starts and then see how everything's going, basically, at that point, see where he fits in. Just really unfortunate injury troubles for him. I feel like he was starting to almost get established and really, become a part of this rotation, and then the Tommy John and everything. So hopefully he can at least get healthy. Maybe we'll see him this year. Mason Thompson as well. Not sure what his status is quite yet. I'm thinking we're gonna know some stuff tomorrow/today when this is posted. We're recording this the day before pitchers and catchers report, so I'm assuming we're gonna know fairly soon. But that's the roster. What you got?
One thing, Josiah Gray. Does Mitchell Parker get kicked out of the rotation? whenever Josiah comes back, and does that mean DJ Hers or Mitchell Parker gets sent down?
It's a good question. I'm not sure when. I'm pretty sure Josiah, if he does come back this year, it's going to be late.
It's going to be like late.
So by then, it might not even be. It might not even matter. But yeah, that does make it interesting because, assuming that these guys can pitch well enough to stay in the rotation, if you do get Gray back, it's almost a good problem to have. But
yeah, no,
I would,
agree.
It's gonna right now. I'd send Hers down instead of Parker. I'd probably send somebody else down before either of them. But yeah, no, that's a good point though, because Josiah's he's probably gonna be late in the year, if at all, this year. They kind of delayed his surgery to try and get him back in a different way, and then it didn't work. So that kind of ruined his 2024 and most of his 25, unfortunately. But best of luck in recovery, Josiah. You're one of my favorite players, and he's a hard worker. I'm expecting him to get back out there and get back to throwing some good games for us eventually, whether it's this year or next. But yeah, Cade Cavalli is an interesting. He's really interesting to me because he should be healthy at some point this year, and then what do you do? Do you call him up immediately? Do you maybe the rotation's doing well and you don't need to call it? It's just a lot of what ifs, but that's part of the fun of the preseason. We get to kind of speculate on what's going on and what could possibly happen. Yeah, I like that point though. Josiah, obviously, I am hopeful that he will return to the rotation at some point. Okay.
Sure.
Sorry. Keep
can
going.
I say one more thing?
Absolutely.
My fault. As a whole, the Nationals. I've heard a lot about the Chiefs trying to three-peat, but the Nationals are trying to three-peat this year. Okay, let's go 71 and 91. Okay, let's three-peat.
The three-peat is here, baby.
The three-peat.
This is a 71 and 91 team for the third year in a row. I love it.
I actually think with this roster, I don't know if I'm just getting myself too excited. I think we can surpass 71 wins.
Yeah, right now, I'm kind of in that 70 to 75 range. We'll see how spring training impacts that, and we're gonna do predictions before the season starts. Yes. So we'll have a lot of that. But I think lineup wise, I'm at least more excited. I feel like there's, it's not a high bar for the Nats offense lately, but we should be better. So that should be fun.
Yeah, I think Dylan Cruz alone and James Wood definitely help.
Yeah, Wood's almost already a good hitter in the majors, and he could get it even better. And obviously, Cruz has all the tools to succeed. So it's going to be a matter of coaching at that point, and we'll have to wait and see how that works.
Yep.
But yeah, that's the roster. Very interesting, and definitely some big names to look out for there. But let's move on to... we're going to move on to the NL East shortly, but first we got a couple trivia questions that we wanted to run by you guys, so make sure to give us your best guesses. I'll go first here. I'm going to give you this trivia question, Gavin. Which player set the New York Mets record for longest consecutive on-base streak at 35 games in 2024?
Okay, 2024. I was about to say,
yes, this was last year.
Time. That might be a little
all time would be tough. This was a little bit easier.
Yeah.
It's still not necessarily easy, but there are a couple guys that could be. So
first, immediately thought of Francisco Lindor. And then do I just rip Francisco Lindor off the bat? Wasn't he kind of like a NL MVP?
The answer is Francisco Lindor, Gavin. You got it right. Yes, he was, and he had a really nice stretch out of the leadoff spot for them. So
yeah,
yes, you are correct. It is Francisco Lindor. Congratulations
on
your first one. That's not necessarily a layup by any means, but it's also not the hardest. I'm gonna have to challenge you next time a little bit, just to make sure that everyone knows you're not as smart as me.
Okay, yep. So this is where to see if you're smart enough.
Yeah, this was a tough one. I read it earlier.
Ichiro Suzuki was just inducted into the Baseball Hall of Fame. You may know.
I did.
He was one vote shy of unanimous. And to the one person that didn't vote, what are you doing? And nobody knows why. That should have been a unanimous decision. But so what was Ichiro Suzuki's longest hit streak? If you do have trouble, I do have 4 choices, and you can choose between the 4, or you can just try and do it by yourself.
Okay, I think I'll give it one shot with no choices.
Okay.
Now, obviously, Ichiro was a fantastic hitter in his career. It's gonna be up there.
Mm-hmm.
It's not. I'm trying to basically decide: is this in the 30s or 40s? Because that's where I think it is. You don't have to tell me yet.
Yeah. No. Yeah, no, I won't tell you.
But where in there is it? I'm gonna say 37.
37?
Yes, that's my guess. All right. Give me the choices.
Wrong.
Let me see if I can take a pick.
The choices are 32, 35, 27, and 41.
Yeah, so I was in the right vicinity. Did he? I don't think he ever got to 41. I feel like I would have remembered that. All right, I'll go 32.
Wrong.
Oh my goodness. All right, what was it?
It was 27.
27, low end.
He had a 27 game hitting streak during the 2009 season with the Mariners. And during that time, during that time he posted a 398 batting average.
Damn, 398. That's crazy. That's lower than I thought, though. But I'm sure he had multiple hit streak. He probably had multiple big hit streaks like that.
I do have a bonus Suzuki question if you want that one, too.
Of course. The more we get to talk about Ichiro, the better, I think.
So, how many consecutive bases did Ichiro Suzuki steal without being caught? Consecutive
stolen bases. Now,
again, I have choices too, but you probably want to rip it.
I do want to rip it once at least. It's probably a similar total to his hit streak as well. Or on base streak. Or hit streak, whatever it was. Without being caught. I mean, he was a very, very smart base runner. He wasn't aggressive to the point of being reckless. He always picked his spots. He was not a guy that got thrown out too often. Whew. I don't know. All right, I'm gonna put it in the 30s again. I'm gonna go with 35. Close? Okay.
Close. Do you want the choices?
Yeah. Let's hear them.
The choices are 47, 33, 39, and 41.
A little bit higher. Okay. I'm going to go 41.
Ding,
correct. Got one.
Suzuki broke Tim Raines' American League record by stealing 41 consecutive bases without being caught.
That's a great trivia question right there. 41. And that makes sense for Ichiro. Like I said, he knew when it was time to run. He was such a smart player. Such a smart. One of the smartest players literally ever. All right. Awesome trivia. Love that. And at the end of our episode here, we're going to quickly run through the rest of the NL East. There'll be plenty more time to talk about NL East and the rest of Major League Baseball throughout spring training. We'll get to it for sure. But we'll give you a quick overview of what went on in the NL East. Obviously, like previous years, plenty of movement occurred between the Mets, Phillies, and Braves. The Mets projected lineups looking like this right now via Fangraphs. Francisco Lindor, Juan Soto, Pete Alonso, Brandon Nimmo, Mark Vientos, Jesse Winker, old friend, Francisco Alvarez, Jeff McNeil, and Jose Siri. Pretty nasty lineup on paper there, and they've got a pretty nice bullpen as well, which I did not include in our notes here, but something to watch out for them. Their bullpen is potentially gross. But yeah, that's a tough squad there. Then we hop into the Phillies. They didn't make as many moves this offseason as previous. They're kind of just sticking with what they've acquired in the past 3-4 years, with Kyle Schwarber leading off still, Trey Turner coming in at second, Bryce Harper, Nick Castellanos, Alec Boehm, Max Kepler, JT Realmuto, Brandon Marsh, and Bryson Stott. Now, I don't know about you, but when I read that lineup, I'm underwhelmed. I don't think that's a great lineup. I think it's a good lineup, but I'm not sure this team's got the hitting potential that they think they do. JT Realmuto he's 34. Like, you can't really expect him to hit the way he's hit in his career for too much longer as a catcher, especially a guy who, essentially catches every game. Still a good defender, but in terms of the offense, I'm not sure. We'll see. If he has a resurgence, that kind of helps them a lot. Brandon Marsh has been pretty good for them as well. Stott has been inconsistent, great defender. And Max Kepler is an interesting signing as well. I'm not really sure how much he's got left in the tank either. But rotation-wise, it's gross. It's gross in terms of disgusting. Oh my God. Zach Wheeler, Christopher Sanchez, Aaron Nola, Ranger Suarez, Jesus Luzardo added via trade. That is a disgusting pickup for this Phillies rotation. Any guy that gets away from the Miami Marlins right now is almost guaranteed to do better. Like, that is just a depression hellhole. Like, no one's gonna thrive there right now, the way that their team is run. So Luzardo was actually thriving despite all of that. I'm assuming he's gonna be great for them, which is unfortunate for us. But great rotation. Not sure about that lineup though. And then we move on to Atlanta. Atlanta kind of didn't do a ton here either, but they did sign Jurickson Profar to hit in the 2-hole, especially while Acuna is recovering still. So Acuna is going to join this lineup eventually as well. But right now it's listed Michael Harris II, Jurickson Profar, Austin Riley, Matt Olson, redacted, Ozzy Albies, Sean Murphy, Jared Kelenic, and Orlando Arcia. It's a pretty solid lineup, especially if you get a guy like Sean Murphy on a bounce back, because he didn't really hit that well last year. He dealt with some injuries. But you expect him to be a better hitter than he was last year. Their offense as a whole just wasn't up to par. They pretty much regressed in every phase from that crazy 2023. I would expect a slight bump back up, maybe not back to 2020. I don't think anyone is going to hit like that 2023 Braves team ever again, maybe. So not expecting them to go back to that. I will say that they should be a little bit better than they were last year, assuming health. But then their rotation is weird, very weird. Not really sure what to make of it. They obviously have the reigning Cy Young Award winner in Chris Sale, and Renato Lopez is their current number 2, and he had a really good year, transitioning from the bullpen to a starter last year for them. But then it's like, I don't know, Spencer Schwellenbach has shown promise sometimes. Grant Holmes, I don't even know that much about, and Ian Anderson has had a good year with them, but he's returning from injury, I believe. So that's definitely a question. But the lineup should be better than they were last year. And finally, Miami. Do we even spend any time on this? Oh my God, it's horrible. Xavier Edwards, Connor Norby, Jesus Sanchez, Jonah Bride, Griffin Conine, Otto Lopez, Kyle Stowers, Derek Hill, Nationals legend Derek Hill. Yes, he's in their starting lineup right now. And Nick Fortes rounding out a just horrendous batting order. I have no idea where they're going to score runs from.
I have no idea who any of these people are.
I mean, I know them, but like,
yeah, I know Jesus Sanchez, but almost like everybody else, it's kind of like, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, there's some good prospects here, but like, you're really hoping that Connor Norby and Kyle Stowers kind of come in and blast homers for you, and I don't see it. I think eventually Norby will be a good player, but it might take a little bit. But yeah, just like those are the guys on winning teams that hit 8th, 9th in your lineup, or a guy that you are kind of expecting more development from, not a guy hitting in your 2-hole. So rough batting lineup. The rotation is better. Sandy should be returning, Sandy Alcantara. as hopefully back to form and one of the best pitchers in baseball again. I love watching him throw. Ryan Weathers, pretty good year last year for him, lefty. He's got some good strikeout stuff, a little inconsistent. Edward Cabrera, he's had injury troubles. Should be on paper, again, stuff-wise, great. Didn't pitch that great last year, though. But this will be a full year for him, so hopefully he'll stay healthy. Max Meyer, another guy, I hope that stays healthy. He had a great opening to his career before it was derailed because of UCL. It's always the UCL, and then I don't even know who the hell their number 5 guy is. Valente Bellozo, more like Bozo. He could be great. I don't know, but
yeah.
I mean, what are we doing? At least with Miami, that one makes more sense. The lineup is just horrendous. So yeah, I guess we'll give a quick breakdown. Who do you think who do you think is the best in National League East? Who's the best team?
Mets, 100%.
Going Mets. I'm kind of inclined to agree with you, honestly.
Yeah, I think I don't know if this is a hot take. This might not even be a hot take at all. I think Mets win the division, and I think the Phillies regress this year.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm pretty sure we're on the same page there. The Mets are interesting. Their rotation is interesting. That's kind of their... If there is a flaw in their lineup or in their team, it's probably the rotation, but even then... It's pretty solid, especially, if you get Senga back to where he was in 2023. Sean Manaea has proven that he's a good pitcher. They got him back. Frankie Montas is interesting. We'll have to wait and see with him. David Peterson pitched really well last year. Right now they have Clay Holmes listed as a starter, which is very interesting. Very interesting. If he is able to start and be somewhat effective, I mean, I'm not expecting him to have the same kind of numbers he did as a reliever, but if he can be effective with his sinker and breaking ball combo as a starter, then that is a great pickup. And if he isn't, throw him in the bullpen. You already know he's good there. So Paul Blackburn finishing that one out if they have another guy that they need to start. But definitely, I'm going Mets as well right now as the best team in this division. Probably followed by I'm going Braves as number 2. I'm with you, man. It's just like you're gonna run out of time. The window's gonna close, and I feel like the Phillies are still gonna be good. Let's not get it twisted. They're gonna be good.
I think the lineup the rotation will definitely carry.
The rotation will absolutely carry. But that lineup, there's definitely there's some scary regression potential there. Now, it could be the opposite. Maybe these guys just had a down year at last year with like JT or something, and he's still great. Maybe Kyle Schwarber hits 40. Maybe Bryce Harper wins an MVP. Bryce Harper's still great. He's not regressing anytime soon, I don't think. But Nick Castellanos, that's scary. Max Kepler, I don't know. Bryson Stott's like pretty inconsistent as a hitter. You don't really need him to hit that much, but it's interesting, and obviously Miami is the worst.
Miami will be the worst.
Yeah, so my quick predictions, we'll get more official predictions, but we'll go Mets. I'm going Braves, Phillies, probably neck and neck in 2-3. Us at 4. Miami at like 10. What do you think?
Miami at 10. That's funny. Yeah, I kind of had the same exact prediction for you. I wouldn't be too surprised if early on you have like the Phillies and Nats kind of like neck and neck. I wouldn't be surprised if I see that.
Hey, last year the Nats were hanging around 500 through the first couple months, and I think our batting lineup is better. So there's potential. Let's just say that. We want to try to have some optimism here before, we look in June and we're like 20 games under 500. Yep. Then we can complain.
Yeah, I think the most key thing is needing to be patient.
Yeah, I mean, we got to be patient with some of these young guys. I don't want to be patient anymore in terms of signing free agents, but obviously it's too late. So they need to get that going.
Patient with the young guys.
But yes, I agree. Let the young guys struggle. It's going to happen. It happens to all of them. Give them some time.
Importantly, patient at the plate too.
Damn right.
Both those are key.
Damn right. This team has got to become more disciplined. You can do that while still maintaining aggressiveness. So it's not they don't go they're not mutually exclusive. They don't even have to be a top 10 walk rate team. Just get out of the bottom.
Nope.
That's all I ask.
Get out of the bottom.
That's where we are right now.
One person, Kiva Ruiz.
Yeah, actually, I want
to see him stop swinging at the first.
I wanted
pitch.
to mention Ruiz before we end as well, because I still believe he has the potential to be a great hitter. He has great bat to ball skills, and he doesn't strike out. That's a good thing, but you can't walk 3% of the time in modern Major League Baseball and succeed. You can't, unless you're hitting 40 homers, which he's not. You have to walk. So he needs to get that walk rate up to, doesn't have to be a league leader. Get up to like 7%. 7%, that's not even that high. But like, that'll just help see more pitches, first of all, which is always good. And two, it's just going to help retain his numbers when he goes through slumps, because everyone goes through a slump. But if you don't walk, your slumps are big slumps. So gotta get more walks from this team. And I think with the combination of James Wood and Josh Bell and Nathaniel Lowe in the middle of that order, there's plenty of walk potential right there. So that's great. But let's get some of these other guys. And again, you can still be aggressive, but we don't have to be aggressive all the time.
I again think the Nationals have a good chance to lead the league in steals as well.
I was just gonna say we're in the same mindset here, because I was gonna say right after that does not apply to the bases. I want them to run like they did last year. There was certain points where they were bad, but for the most part, I think that was a huge strength of the team, and they should definitely continue to be aggressive trying to steal bases.
Agreed.
Especially with the current rules.
Yeah.
Whew, okay, that was a long one for the first one, but we sincerely appreciate you guys sticking with us. I know that we haven't posted in a while, but we were just waiting for pitchers and catchers to report, man. It's baseball season officially now that the Super Bowl has ended, so we're excited to get it back going for this year. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode, and once again, remember, give us a follow at District BSB on Twitter. Give me a follow at Reverse, 2 R's, 2 S's. Give Gavin a follow at GavinDudeXL. And we will see you on the next episode, hopefully coming soon. We're not gonna have like a set schedule right now, but I'm thinking that we're gonna have at least a couple more episodes during spring training. So be on the lookout for that. And we will see you guys in the next episode. Let's go baseball.
Bye.